Hello, hello. Welcome to Shirty Tuesdays.
Hi,
It is your girl V, and I have a special guest with me today, Mrs. Kimberly Airhart. Hello.
how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Really good, thank you.
Good, good. So I just want to say, if you guys can y'all see our shirts? Let me try to back up a little bit.
Woo!
Woohoo! We got Hearts of Teal on. So, of course, we're talking about teal today. You guys, I mean, for my followers, some of you know the story, some of you may not because I have some new followers. But so teal is a special color. For one, it's already special. But teal is a special color. But in our world, we are teal sisters. And so we are ovarian cancer thrivers or survivors, cancer thrivers, survivors. I kind of put them all together because we're doing a little bit of both. So it's okay if we have both of them. So we're going to have this conversation with Miss Kimberly, and she's going to share her journey with us of how everything came about and how Hearts of Teal was created and established and doing wonderful things in her community. And I don't want to just say in her community because I'm not in her community. I'm way over here and I still support. So, it's not just in your neighborhood, but hey, it's worldwide. So anyway, so let's get into it. So Miss Kimberly, where are you from? Where are you located? Because I know you're not in Oklahoma.
No, I live in Georgia. I live south of Atlanta.
Okay, Georgia. All right, from the South. Y'all know we got that Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
Okay, so wonderful. So let's start from the beginning. So with ovarian cancer, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2020, in February of 2020.
Okay.
Um, and I was 41 at the time and had no idea about ovarian cancer whatsoever. But I had been really being really bloated and having a lot of the symptoms.
Hmm.
But I had just had my fifth kid about 2 years prior, so I thought that the baby weight never went away. I explained it away for a lot of different reasons that women that have had a lot of children or in their 40s just experience. So I kind of pushed it off for a little bit, and then I went to see my GYN, and she did a pelvic exam and an ultrasound and blood work, and everything was fine. She said that I had two cysts on both sides, but I was so symptomatic that she wanted to do a hysterectomy. So that was the road I was down.
Oh.
I did not feel like that was right. By the
Right.
way, I don't know if you'd had a lot of cysts in your life, but I've had cysts on my ovaries a lot, so it just felt different. I was very tender in my abdomen. I had like changes with my bowel and things like that. It was just kind of starting to stack up and make me kind of wondering like something else has got to be going on.
Something else is going on.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now you said that she suggested a hysterectomy. I like right off the top, even though you just had your fifth child. I mean, I don't know if you were thinking it, but why did she want to do a hysterectomy? Like,
I think just with all the symptoms I was having, she was thinking, that would alleviate the problem. So I never was given a CA-125 blood test or anything like that, so we didn't know that that was extremely elevated.
mm-hmm.
That out until after I was diagnosed that my numbers were at 1,400. So I ended up going to see another doctor for a second opinion, and they thought I had acid reflux and sent me home with medicine. And I called and said, "I this is not acid reflux. There's something wrong with me."
Something else is, yeah.
So they did a CT scan, and turns out I was almost stage 4.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's back up. And I'm about to have a hot flash. Listen, listen. You probably know about those hot flashes, right? We're a little young for 'em, but when they come on, you just look like a sweating turkey sometimes. So okay, so let me back up. For people that do not know what a CA-125 is, can you explain to people that don't know what that is? What is a CA-125? And we want to say that that having that test done does not detect
Hmm.
ovarian cancer. So
Right,
there's no screening for it at all. So I just want to throw that out there because there's other screening tests for other cancers, but not for this one.
right. Uh,
So tell us a little bit about that.
it's a tumor marker. it measures inflammation in your body, but there's several things that can make it rise, like fibroids, endometriosis, pregnancy, different things like
Mhm.
that. So it was supposed to be under 35, and the fact that it was 1400 would have been super alarming had it been checked, but I already had the cancer. So I mean, by the time I found out, it was 3 months later, I mean 1 month later, sorry, excuse me, and it was like already there. So it's nobody's fault, that we just didn't see.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, so that's what they check every 3 months for someone who's had ovarian cancer. They check your CA-125 to see if your tumor markers starts to rise. They look for a trend, and then that's how they can tell if you're maybe having a recurrence.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Okay, so 1400. So when you got the test for the CA-125, this is your second opinion at the doctor for the second opinion. Okay. So when the physician saw those results, did they start to think, okay, this is not just some digestive issue?
yeah, he came in, and I knew something wasn't right because when I had the CT scan, the girl who had done it, she just said, "You need to sit right here. We're moving you to the stat list, and when we get the call."
Okay.
To go to his office so he can go over the results. And I knew that wasn't a good thing. So she just said, "You have something gynecological going on. You don't want me to tell you." But he was a primary care physician, so it wasn't in his wheelhouse either.
Ah,
He just,
okay.
"You have a gynecological, we think it's ovarian cancer." And he kind of told me everywhere that it had spread, which was, of course, terrifying. And if you Google ovarian cancer, you'll see why. I mean, the statistics are not very good. And so it was very hard for me to digest that at first. Um,
Right. And you're 41
I'm 44.
and you just had your baby.
Yep.
Yes. Were you anticipating on having any more children?
No,
No. Okay.
we had four boys and one girl, and we had always said four, but I just felt like we needed one more. So
One more. Okay.
yeah,
Well, that's all right. That for that one more, it's okay.
yeah.
So when this happened, you said February of 2020.
Hmm.
So this is the start, well, before, the world shut down.
Exactly.
Um, and so you're having this brand new diagnosis, going to get second opinions, third opinions, and then boom, the world shuts down like March,
Hmm.
the second week of March or whatever it was.
Yes, it was
Um, Say that again.
really scary.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
didn't know if I would make it. I was like, I need to get this treatment to get this major surgery that I have to live. And,
Right.
was like, you might not be able to have your treatment, or I was just freaking out. So luckily it all worked out for that, but I couldn't take anyone with me. So I had to do it all alone, even
Oh.
abdominal and 8 days in the hospital alone. So it was very hard and isolating.
Mm-hmm. Definitely doing all of that by yourself, having thousands of questions and doing your treatment and everything, and that's a lot.
Hmm.
That's a lot. So when you were diagnosed, you said almost to stage 4. So what's your official stage that they diagnosed you with?
They're saying 3C, but I think it kind of depends on who you ask. I was starting to get a pleural effusion, but it was too small to biopsy. So they were hopeful that it would clear up in time after my first treatment so that I could have this surgery that's called HIPEC. And it's a heated abdominal wash that they put in your abdominal cavity. So I have like an incision from my breastbone to pubic bone. And they pour this hot chemo in your abdomen. They close you back up and they shake you for an hour and a half, and it bathes all your organs. Because I had it on my spleen, my dome of my liver, kind of all over my lining of my stomach. So
Oh,
it was just like we wanted to be as aggressive as possible considering the kids.
considering, yes, yes. Now, and I've heard about the treatment that you just mentioned, and I want to say it was last year where I heard about it because someone else had mentioned it. I said, "Explain to me
Hmm.
what is going on," and that is really advanced. Uh,
Yeah.
And just you said shake you for an hour. So does it, like, do you get to be, are you put to sleep? You
Mhm.
know, okay.
I was asleep for 8 hours. So they basically go in and they pick all the cancer out that they can, that's visible and that's less than a centimeter or bigger than a centimeter. They take it all out. Then they bathe your organs because after they do that, there's microscopic cells that can be left. So that's,
Hmm.
clean that out. It's not like a for sure procedure that will definitely prevent recurrence, but it just, we're hopeful that in my case it will help. And I know it has helped some other people. And in certain cancers like colon cancer, it can be like a big deal break. Like it'll really help them survive.
Really help. Okay. Now, how many treatments did you
I had
um
3 before,
how, wait, say that number again?
6.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 10.
Oh
Because
no,
that's
just
what I was like, okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's a lot of it's a lot of information just to try to process,
I know.
and we're on the other end. So
Right.
only imagine with you being the actual person that has to go through this, that's extremely a lot. So with going through 6 treatments and it takes 8 hours,
Mhm.
and how often are you having to repeat this? Every 3 weeks, once a month?
I did a treatment for every 3 weeks, and then I'd have a treatment, and then 3 weeks, and then have treatment again. And
Okay.
about 6 months from start to finish from when I was diagnosed. I got diagnosed in February and I finished up in August of 2020.
Okay. Okay. Now, were you working at the time?
I was
As far
well, I had a t-shirt business where I was doing embroidery and vinyl and different things like that out of the
Okay.
house. And I had just quit my doing that so that I could focus on the family more and put more into the kids. So it was kind of like a big blow for me because I was like the new year starting and I was like, I'm just going to focus on the kids, volunteer.
Mhm.
Ball dropped and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like how?" It was hard for me to process, but in a way COVID was a blessing in the sense that my husband was home and he wasn't traveling like he normally does. I did have help. And my mom was staying with us she was actually there when I got diagnosed. So she like never went home for 6 months. She lived with us and basically stepped in as me. So I just felt very blessed that I was able to have her. I know a lot of people don't have that kind of support and that kind of help
Support. Yeah, that
really.
is true. That is true, and it does make a difference when you're able to have the support that you need.
Mm.
So yeah, it's like we kind of appreciate COVID in a small aspect
It's
because you're able
like
to make some changes.
after, but during, I don't know that I could see that yet.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh wow. So stage 3C,
Hmm.
6 rounds of this progressive.
I only had
chemo-
that one time. The other treatments were the same carbo taxol that everybody else gets.
Oh, okay, okay. So, oh, you had carbotaxel. Oh, oh my god, that was my combination,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember which one. The Taxol is the one that I had a reaction to. Did you have
Oh,
a reaction to it?
but I know that a lot of people do.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's good that you did not, because they had to dope me up with Benadryl every time I had to do treatment, and so it was a lot. And I know that you can have reactions to it, and then there's some long lasting effects. Do you have problems with your bones, or you feel like you ache at
I have
times?
pain and I have major back pain.
Okay.
Notice the most is my cognitive um, inability to just like form words, remember things. My short term
Hmm.
struggle in that area a lot more than I did before, which I think
Yes.
is correct. It did get better after treatment stopped, but it's not gone. Like you don't feel as sharp. I have social anxiety now a little bit more. I definitely had it during treatment just because of having had cancer, being young, everybody's looking at you and you
Right. Right. But did you have that social And like anxiety at first, or not really?
Probably a little bit, but not quite as bad as it is now. Uh,
Okay.
Once I start having a conversation, but if I run into somebody like at the grocery store, like initial, like I just get like really anxious for some reason. And I feel like that's worse than it ever was before.
Okay. Okay. So how do you cope with all these changes to your body, everything? I mean, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How are you coping with all of that?
I think just the Lord just kind of walking with me and bringing me through that whole entire journey. I mean, the day that I was diagnosed, on the wall above the doctor, it said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Trust in me." John 14:1. And it was literally in that moment that I felt like God was trying to get my attention and trying to just bring me back to him and doing something. And I knew that I could feel it. Um, I wish it wasn't cancer, but I don't get to write the story. So anyway, that,
Right.
just praying and just leaning on him through it. I mean, it's definitely an emotional battle for me. And it's
Definitely.
on a
Definitely.
daily, but as you know, you just one day at a time.
One day at a time. I know. That's all we're granted is one day, one day at a time. I do want to say someone sent a message and said God is good every hour, every minute, every second, all positive energies always. So they want to say that to you. Um and I feel that, you know, once we've tackled cancer. We go through a series of emotions because, for one, the shock and anger of being diagnosed. Like, okay, what is this? And typically, when we're hearing that we have cancer, we tend to associate that with death,
Right.
because we're not for sure what all is going on. And then you go through your treatments and you recover and you're hopeful. And then it's like, okay, now what?
Exactly. It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a
And
new normal. And for us, or for me, it was like a new normal also with COVID.
hmm
But I was very, very grateful to meet a friend during my journey who was introduced to me, named Andrea, who had the same diagnosis, and we were diagnosed the same month. And so we ended up living in this like 10 minutes from each other, and we walked that journey together.
wow.
So that I feel like is literally priceless. And part of the reasons why we started Hearts of Teal, was to give other women that opportunity to have connection during a journey like that, because it can be very isolating.
Yes. Yes. So you found a friend
I
10
did.
minutes away. Like, how ironic is that? And you never met her before? You didn't even know her?
Oh, her daughter goes to my brother. He's an orthodontist in Peachtree City,
Okay.
and her daughter goes there. And one day, he, the husband brought the daughter instead of her, and they were like, "What's wrong? Where's Andrea?" And they said she was diagnosed, and then I think I was just diagnosed maybe like a week or two after that, and
Wow.
so which was a huge blessing.
Divine intervention.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. And so is that how Hearts of Teal was created, after you guys' relationship? And
Yeah, I got done with treatment, and like you were saying, it comes to a screeching halt, and you're like, okay, what now? Like, I'm done. I made it through, and I just felt this overwhelming sense. I feel like the Lord was placing on my heart just to have a fundraiser, and having had 5 kids, we kind of pulled through all of that. I wanted to have a fun experience for them, so I decided to do a fundraiser, or like a color run. Do you know what a color run is? Where they throw the color powder on you when you.
oh, I've heard of those. I've never been.
Oh, yes. That would be for the kids. So we did that here in Fayetteville, Georgia. And we had a great turnout and a great success. We raised a lot of money. And I was like, all right, I think this is something that people actually need down here in the South Side. And Andrea had jumped on board with me and said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to come. We're going to do it together. So we did. We raised $72,000 for our first event.
Wow, $72,000. Oh, that is awesome. Wow, on your first, oh my gosh. That's that's a lot. That's,
It was
well, I'm not talking about a lot of money. I'm talking about, like, that's a lot from having the support of people in the community
great.
um on your
And
first
even
first
all friends even in other states. Like, it was just really cool to see everybody come together for the cause. And so we're about to have our third race this coming June, and I'm just excited to see what the Lord has in store. But we're kind of expanding a little bit. We're going to include other GYN cancers because there's a lot of women that
Okay.
experience other GYN cancers that don't have the awareness or the support either.
Right.
They don't have screening as well. So I think it's really important for that. And just being able to reach out to these women in our community who don't think that they're at risk. Young
Mhm.
teachers. We gave out symptom cards and lunch boxes to 4,000 teachers in the Atlanta area, and have done some in some other states like North Carolina and such like that. It's just really cool to see, people embrace it. And a lot of women, I would say 9 out of 10 women we meet don't know anything about the signs and symptoms of ovarian cancer. They've never been discussed. It's never been discussed with them at their doctor's office. You don't see literature typically about it.
Right. That's true. You don't get that information. Um, Even during our awareness month, which is in September, and I know some people say, well, we hear a lot about breast cancer. And that was kind of me. Like, before my diagnosis, I didn't know anything about ovarian cancer. I heard everything about breast cancer. Go get your mammograms. And so I was supporting and doing that. And I knew people who had it. And so I felt like I was doing my part. And so then when this comes, you're like, oh, well, where was I? Never heard of that.
Right.
And it just kind of slaps you in the face, where you're like, we need to tell more people
Hmm.
about this. It's a reason that it's called the silent killer,
Yep.
because nobody talks about it.
And it's
No,
a poor outcome. And I think that you and I can both give hope to people that that's not always the case. And the statistics are old, and people do live through
yeah,
this. And I think that that's a big deal too, just bringing hope and letting women who get diagnosed see women on the other side of this, and that life still goes on, and that you can focus on that. I think
definitely.
it's
That ma-
positive.
it makes yes. You have to stay positive.
Hmm.
You really do, because if you start to go down that negative journey, it'll just consume you. And I really feel like it determines your outcome sometimes,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Um, and it's good to be able to talk to someone. Did you ever go to support groups? I know you've uh, established that friendship, but did you ever have support groups, even if they were online or?
I
Um,
had that was a social worker that I met with online, but I think a lot of the programs, I went to Emory at the time. I think a lot of the programs weren't really functioning because of COVID.
okay,
So I didn't really have a lot of that. And I think, we've started doing a virtual support group to meet people in like rural towns because, the cities typically will have something, but the women who live in like South Georgia and out near in Oklahoma, Arkansas, North Carolina parts, they don't have all of that everywhere.
right, that's true.
We have an in person and then we have a virtual too, just to be able to connect women and encourage them um, along the way.
Okay, and I think that's good. And, that's another perk from COVID.
Mhm.
With
Oh,
this virtual part, being able to do things on Zoom or what's the other one? Team Meets or whatever it is, to be able to just meet. Yeah, Google Meets.
there.
You can tell I don't use it often, but yeah. But it's good to be able to have that so you can connect to people outside of
Mhm.
just within your state or in your community. But support systems are really, really important to have. I say this at times, like I wish during my time that I would have tapped into one,
Mhm.
but I know I didn't. Um, so did you ever feel like you needed to have any counseling
That's
with?
worker that I'm working with was, and I did go to a psychiatrist afterwards because of some of the cognitive part where I felt like my brain was just like not working. Um,
Okay.
Joke saying I have dementia because I sometimes feel like that. I'm like, I can't think, I can't remember. Like I'll have a conversation 2 days later, I don't even remember having the conversation. So it's very frustrating.
Hmm.
But I did seek out medication just to help me kind of focus a little bit better.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's a plus, and it does help.
Hmm.
It does help because I remember after my last treatment, it got to the point I couldn't even form sentences,
Hmm.
and everybody was they were completing my sentences for me, like they knew what I was trying to say,
Right.
and I just said I can't talk. Let me just stop. This is just because it's not you, so you feel like you're not being heard. You feel like people are not understanding you, you know, and it makes it a really difficult time.
I
So
think that's where the anxiety comes in for me. It's
hmm
just not as sharp. And having a nonprofit, I feel like brought me back for my kids, for my husband, for my family and friends. I feel like it helped me so much, just putting myself out there to try to speak to people, to get up and speak in front of people, which was something that I was super scared to do before. And I think just keeping me sharper, just learning how to be in sales and doing all the things that you have to do in your business. So I think it's been really good for me as well in this journey.
well, good. Well, you're doing an amazing job.
Mm.
Amazing job. I can't even remember how I ran into you. Well, I know it was on social
That
media.
support group on Facebook, probably.
What? Oh, it probably was. Yes.
And then
Yes.
you supported our first race, and that's the shirt you have on now. So now we're back.
Oh, okay. This is the first shirt. Yeah, that's right. Okay, it does say 2021.
Yep.
I don't know why I was thinking. I said, well, I don't know if this is the first one or the second one. I was thinking it was the second one. Okay, so
I'll
it's
have
the first one.
second year. It has a big red shoe. So
Oh, okay, okay. So I didn't get, but the one last year, I love that shirt, and I was gonna put that on, but I was like, no, let me just put this on because.
like,
But I love that shirt. I don't know. It's just the design of it. Did you create that one?
part of it, I had a graphic designer that kind of told what I wanted, and she kind of brought it to life.
Ah, she did an amazing job. I love that shirt. It's really pretty. And
Thank
it stands out. It's like, pow, there you go. I'll show you guys a picture of it because I did take a picture of it and then I didn't get a chance to post it, but I'm going to post it today. Don't worry. No worries.
you.
So, do you have your annual runs at a certain time every year?
We have the last 2 years were in July, and this year we're doing it in June, so it'll be June 17th.
Okay. So, you just kind of
Too.
pick up. Okay. Okay. But it's always in Georgia.
Yep, for right now.
Okay.
We a friend and her family and friends out in North Carolina ran one with the proceeds going to Hearts of Teal, which was really cool. And they put on their own run. So it'd be awesome to have runs
Oh,
we could help people do. And if they want, even if they're small and they just want to get out there and get people rallied up for the cause, I think it's fun for them.
okay. I like that idea. Don't get my wheels are turning because I'll come up with an idea, be like, oh, but you know what that would be, and I'm just gonna say this, that would be wonderful for Oklahoma because we don't have a run or a walk here for ovarian cancer.
But
So my treatments were at the Stevenson Cancer Center, and so they have an outpace cancer race, and so that's for all cancers. But we don't have anything just for.
to do GYN too, 'cause since the occurrence of ovarian is 1 in 78 women, which is not a ton of women that you would know, but
Mhm.
guys, I start meeting people all the time now that are associated with someone who has it. So,
Right.
but GYN cancer in general, you probably have a lot more.
Okay. Okay. We,
But,
we're, we're gonna talk, Kimberly.
but
Yes, because I know I don't need to add anything else to my list, but this right here, yes, we're gonna definitely talk. We can do that. I think that'll be great. That'll be great, and it'll be the first.
yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be useful. So 2021, Hearts of Till was established.
Mhm.
And your mission, what is your mission for Hearts of Teal?
Our mission is to educate the women in our community and surrounding of the signs and symptoms of ovarian cancer and to provide support for women and also just to share the message of our Lord and Savior with everyone that we come in contact with.
Okay. Okay. And I think that's really important. And you also have different initiatives that you do in regards for the teachers. I thought that was really neat.
Thank
Like,
you.
do you do someone bring these ideas to you, or how did you?
We have a board, and one of my friends that's on the board, Courtney, she works for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and she's the brain behind that. And it was for us to do the teacher bags, which has been a really fun campaign. Like we've this year we did 4,000 teachers, and we also do teal socks for the athletes in the community. And we've had people in California do it. Even it's so it doesn't have to be in Georgia, but it's just a great way to bring awareness to, like, if the athletes are wearing teal socks, then you can walk around and talk to the parents, give them symptom cards, and kind of why they're wearing teal that day. And it brings everybody together. It's like a unity thing, and I think it's really been fun for the kids as well.
Yeah. So, because I remember saying, was it the soccer team or baseball team that had?
We did all kinds of things. We had like
Okay, I'm trying
1,500
to.
athletes this year: soccer, baseball, lacrosse. Um, we did wristbands for some teams, like hockey, different things like that. So
Okay, okay, because you did get a chance to throw the first pitch. I thought, what?
yes, that was a softball. That was my.
Oh, softball. Okay.
I would say I need to practice one. I did throw a baseball pitch. I did not make it to the umpire, and
Oh,
on the softball one, I did make it. I was determined that time.
you were determined. You said, I'm practicing now. I have that throw.
Embarrassing, and I want to see that first video.
Right. Well, that's good. That's so you have a variety of things that can cover
Hmm.
everyone. So whether you're an athlete, and you said, say the word again, teal socks. No, athletes or socks. Say it again for me.
The socking, it's called socking it to you, but we did the
Oh,
two.
socking it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also have a poker ride, which is a motorcycle. So then you're dealing with like a whole nother demographic of people that live all over the state. So that's pretty fun.
Okay. Okay. So if you're in any type of sports,
Hmm.
you can support teal and have that conversation. I love that because you have to get a variety of people involved.
Hmm.
And especially if you get men involved, they'll get to talking to the moms and grandmas and wives or whomever and girlfriends, like, hey, I learned about this. Are you having these problems? And then that'll make us open up a little bit more about what's going on, because
Right.
sometimes we keep things to ourselves and we don't tell anybody anything.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowering women to ask questions and not to be afraid to talk about some of this stuff, especially women in menopause, postmenopausal, and even after having lots of children. That's like the prime ages when this starts.
Hmm.
Then you're usually further along in your staging. So it's crucial. And I feel like the first line of attack is to know the signs and symptoms to catch it earlier. And it
Right.
really makes a big difference in your survival and your overall outcome.
Okay. Definitely. Definitely. So taking that early action, take early action and live. So
Hmm.
it's teal. You can remember that. So if we take early action and live, then we can hopefully catch ovarian cancer at an early stage. And because that does make our survival rate a lot higher, is what they say. But, even individuals that have stage 3 or 4, they still are able to survive as well.
Yep.
So I think that's.
And there's so much research on the cusp of, coming through the pipes that's got some blood tests that can test for things like this early on. And so we supported some research projects that are very promising, and really excited to see what comes from all of that. I know there's some new trials starting, there's some new drugs coming out that are really going to boost those numbers, I think, for women.
Mhm. Yes, yes, definitely. Definitely. And one day, I'm not for sure when, and hopefully it'll be during our lifetime, then we'll have a screening test
One
for
day.
ovarian cancer. One day, I'm not for sure when, but we have to be hopeful. And the more that we talk about it, the more that we advocate and spread awareness, and the more that we can help legislating and making decisions on funding
Right.
and trying to get research done.
Yep.
Because that's where it all comes from, is research. If we don't do the research, how are we going to know how to treat ovarian cancer or to do things for ourselves? So That's really important. So are you an advocate leader for Okra?
I have been this past year. Yes, I am.
Okay, because I said I think she's a leader, but I wasn't for sure. Because I joined March. Well, it was a little bit before March, but 2020
Hmm.
is when I joined, and so I saw when I saw your, uh, it was I think it was your video of your run,
Oh,
and I was like, oh, I know her. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
So when did you join? Just in 2020?
22. Andrew and I are,
Oh,
and
you in Nigeria. Okay.
the survivors teaching students through them. I have not personally done that yet, but I would love to. So yeah, really neat.
Okay. Well, good.
Then
I'm
I would ever be talking to senators and Congress about bills.
yes. Yes. Did you get nervous in March?
First, I knew what to expect. I just want to encourage so many people to do it because it's so easy. You just tell your story and that's it.
Hmm.
Really all you have to do. You don't have to specifically say anything, and it's really not hard like I thought it was going to be.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, it's not as hard as it is. Now, when you actually go to Washington D.C., have you been to Washington D.C. before? You never been?
I
Okay.
not for this, and I know because of COVID they had shut it down, but they're
Yes.
up again. I would love to do that.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Because my first time going, I said, I've never been before, so I want to go early so I can explore and then I'll handle business.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. But I'm just walking into the Capitol, and knowing that you're there to speak and to share your story, just take a deep breath
Hmm.
and just be you. Because I almost wanted to cry several times, and I was with my friend Tara. She's a ovarian cancer survivor, and she just said, "Okay, we're going to do this." I said, "Okay, we got this." So we were just cheering each other on. But
Yes,
once you get in there and you start, it's just it's just really relaxing.
and they
And
are they help and they listen and they ask questions
they
like that.
do.
And I think they're welcoming of the information because a lot of them don't know anything about it.
Right. Right. That's true. So, well, that's good. So, welcome to the Advocacy Leader Club. I know it's a year, but anyways, welcome anyway, because it's a lot of fun. So, just to give you a little bit, because I know some people are saying, "Oh, what is this Advocacy Leader?" So, with OKRA, and OKRA stands for Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance. You can Google it. I'm always sharing things from their page. I think I shared something earlier today. But what they do, they are the leading organization with funding research for ovarian cancer. And so what they do a variety of programs, and they also have a initiative called Advocacy Leaders. And so with the Advocacy Leaders, they try to have a leader in each state. And most of them we have at least two or three, but there's still some states that we're missing. I can't remember which ones they are, but and so she's in Georgia, and so I'm in Oklahoma. So I'm an advocate leader for Oklahoma, and she's one for Georgia. Now Georgia's pretty big, so she may have. Do you do like a certain area? Like, are you
We have like some meetings that are all of us. There's like 11 sometimes, and then we'll break off, and some of
okay?
it tends to be two or three.
Two or three. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So when we said that we're advocating, that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk to our um, politicians to advocate for funding for ovarian cancer. So that's what we're doing. That's what Kimberly is doing. And so she's new to the club, and I said the club, but anyway, she's new to advocacy leader, and so we have to encourage her and definitely follow her journey when she's doing that in Georgia, because it does make a difference. It really does, and they need to hear from other people like us to make sure that we're sharing our story as well. I'm going to have to remind myself to turn this phone off. This because it usually doesn't ring when I'm doing my segments, but oh well, I'm not about to turn it off now, so it's just gonna have to ring. But anyway, so I want to say, Kimberly, I am so proud of you. for taking the time to share your story, even after you've had all of your treatments and everything, and understanding that your story is going to make a difference in someone's life.
I was
Um, yes. It makes a difference. It makes a big difference. And so I know that you get nervous at times, and I do too. And but we have to remind ourselves we got to keep going.
mhm.
You know, God's given you a vision, He's given you a passion and an organization that you are fulfilling, and it's gonna continue to grow. It's gonna continue to grow, and you're gonna continue to be blessed from it. You and Andrea. And kudos to Andrea. I've never met her before, but I'm sending hugs her way too.
She's great. She's
Yes.
and so I wish she can share the gospel with anybody. She's great at that, which is
Oh, well, that's
I,
wonderful.
but yeah, so our my big slogan right now is just saying rise stronger and just telling everybody out there that they can do this and they can get through this.
I like that. Rise stronger.
Yep, I got
Okay.
there.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So tell us your website now. I know I put it in the introduction thing, but tell us your website. Where can they find Hearts of Teal?
www.heartsofteal.org, and it's spelled Harts. My last name's Airhart, so taken out of that, kind of like a play on words. And
Yeah.
teal being the color for ovarian cancer, so that's how it's spelled. Hearts of Teal.
Hearts of Teal. Perfect. Heartsofteel.org. So go to their website. If you want to make a donation, are they able to you accept donations on your website?
I'm
Okay.
on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes. Okay. So she's on Instagram and Facebook. So follow her there. Same name, right? Hearts of Teal. So it's real simple. You guys can remember that. So go follow, like, and share and support her story. Now the run starts in June.
Mhm.
So when does has the registration already open for that?
In the next week or two. I'm
Okay.
looking at different platforms right now, but yes, we're about to hit the ground running on fundraising and getting people registered. So
Okay.
you know it.
Okay, well, perfect. So make sure you guys sign up. I try to register every time, but sometimes I forget, and then I'll be like, "Oh, I done missed the deadline." So make sure you sign up.
Yes, it's run virtually from wherever they are, so that works.
Yes. So if you sign up virtually, you go and you do your run. Take a picture of your beautiful shirt that she's designed or whomever designed it.
Mhm.
Okay. And then hashtag and put your hashtag and tag her in it so that way she can see that you're supporting wherever that you may be. I think that's really important to make sure we support each other, even if it's from a distance.
That's right.
Because
Uh,
Georgia's not too far from here, like
I don't know. I live
13 years.
in
It may be like 14 hours. I can't remember.
probably from there because Mississippi, where we were, takes us like almost 8 hours with the kids. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So how old are your children now? Since
my youngest is 5, and my
5. Okay.
he's coming.
Hi. How are you?
Say hi. Say hi.
Oh, you're so adorable. Oh.
And an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an almost 14-year-old.
Okay. All right. So you got to spread out.
Mhm. So we crammed 5 into 8 years.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, you've done enough. You you got your hands full.
that failed.
Right. So what before we wrap it up, what is something encouraging that you would like to share with anyone that may be going through the journey or maybe just now starting off? What is something encouraging you would like to say for them?
I think that whenever you're diagnosed and you're feeling so overwhelmed, maybe you're not ready to reach out, but that it's okay. Like you can take all the time you need to digest what you're going through. But I think that you'll see that connecting with other women during this process is just going to make it that much sweeter. It's going to make you feel like you're surrounded by people that love you and are caring. So even if it's in their local area or virtually. I think that makes a big difference.
Yes, it does. It makes a big difference. Oh, okay. Hugs. I'm
Heck,
such a hugger. So, all right. Well, you guys have heard it from Share the Tea Tuesdays with Miss Kimberly Airhart. She's the owner of Hearts of Teal. So make sure you go and you support. Remember, it's more than just pink. So it's not just always about breast cancer because there's other types of cancers that are out here. And so one of them is ovarian cancer and it's called a silent killer for a reason. And so we need to make sure that we're taking action, ladies. Ladies, women, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you are having problems and you haven't been to the doctor, we encourage you to go to the doctor and get checked out. You know that something is wrong with your body. So listen to your body. It talks to you for a reason. It's telling you, hey, something's not right. Don't worry about the bills. Trust me. I know bills come and people say I don't have the money to pay for this and I don't have the copay to pay for that. Just go to the doctor so you can save your life.
and ask
Okay.
questions. I mean, it's okay to ask questions, and if you don't think that they're hearing you, then go somewhere else.
Yes, amen. Go somewhere else. You deserve to live and you deserve to have great treatment.
Hmm.
Okay? Definitely. All right. So let me stop because I get to preaching on a note and I don't need to do that. So make sure you go and follow Hearts of Teal at heartsoteal.org is her website. And then on Instagram and Facebook, it's Hearts of Teal. So go and follow them. Support. And as soon as the registration drops for the new walk in June, go ahead and sign up. You can do it virtually just like I do and get you a really pretty shirt
Yep.
and support. We can fundraise from a distance.
Yep.
All right, so Miss Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on.
It was
Yeah,
nice to meet you finally.
I know, right? We always talking on Facebook, and now we
Yep.
actually communicating. And I'm gonna be in contact with you
Okay.
for some of these initiatives. So let me get some other things off my plate first, but I'm gonna reach out, and so I definitely would love to have your support. And we support each other as
Mhm.
always.
You got it.
You got it. All right, guys. So if there's not anything else, don't forget to follow Share the Tea with V on social media. And also be encouraged. Also be encouraged and remember to be intentional. My voice is going out. Sorry. To be intentional, insightful, and impactful in everything that you do. And until next week, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.